Nauka, Nature Matnaminewak, Natanaway Makanuk, Mishikmauni Wiak, a Hiosa Ito, Nanayawi and I Musakwat, a Hiosa Matnamine, Skonikani, Newapium, a Hamas Wiskosik, Awasa Natotam, Wasesa, Nemata Mosim, Nian and Nietzscheanuk, Netatnoak, and Ohaya Nekut Nosisa, Nekut Wuna up Sakana Sopiat. I asked Pimot to say, and Swawaki, and so I'll greet you guys like that. Letting you know that my name is Musakwat or Clear Sky, a member of the Bear Clan, born and raised here on the Menominee Reservation in Wisconsin. Nice to virtually pop in on your on your language session. Like Cheney said, we've been virtual friends for I think several years. I guess I don't know how many, but then came out you guys' way last fall and got to hang out with Cheney and see the reservation a little bit out that way, and we kind of swap ideas back and forth ever since. And so we're here on Menominee. We got lots of stuff going on. We have and it's all pretty recent. So our tribe hadn't gotten anything, I'll say, like anything meaningful. That's not to discredit anybody's efforts, but we didn't get serious about immersion until 2016. And unfortunately, it took the passing of one of our last really fluent speakers to sort of kick us into that gear. Mm-hmm. It seems to me it had a lot to do with their tribal leadership's reluctantness to invest seriously in the language, being that we don't have a great amount of resources here. But as I said, one of our old men passed away that was taking care of our community, would always do prayers and talks whenever he could. And he passed away pretty suddenly, but I think he was about 78 years old, and it just really shook up the leadership, and they decided to make a concerted effort at what might be called revitalization. And so we ended up kicking off an immersion trainee program. And so I was the guy that was hired as the immersion instructor. We started January 4th, 2016. We started with a cohort of 10, and our hope was to sort of parlay a few of them into an immersion school, but we bit off a little more than we could chew starting out there. And we ended up being able to roll 3 of those trainees into immersion daycare instructors, and we opened a birth to 2 room. We started with 6 kids, 3 teachers, and that was in September of 2017. And to say it was challenging would be an understatement, because then we immediately hired another group of learners, and ever since then we've sort of been hiring a group of learners, opening a room, hiring a group of learners, opening a room. And to date, we currently run birth to 2nd grade immersion services. It's getting pretty difficult now, though, with the state licensing that we need here in Wisconsin to be a certified teacher at the kindergarten and higher levels. So we're running into some roadblocks, but we continue to train people. We have probably somewhere around 40 children receiving immersion services from birth to 2nd grade at the moment. And then currently what I do is I was part of initiating the immersion movement with the tribe. I was the instructor for the initial immersion training program. One of my students has succeeded me in that role, and he is now the immersion instructor. And we have gone ahead and created a 501c3 nonprofit, completely independent of the tribe. We recently opened a 10,000 square foot, what we call Menominee Language Campus. And we have a clear vision and goal of revitalizing the Menominee language. And we are targeting our community social aspect, and we recognize and see the effort that's put forth in the sort of the tribe proper, or as we call it, the institutional setting, and as well as the that would. I'm sorry. Oh, um, so anyway, Menominee, we've got a vision of bringing language to spaces that hasn't traditionally been in our revitalization movement. So we have a lot of activity in our schools. We have some in our official tribal settings, but none in the social and or community aspect. And so we're trying to build out this sort of college campus atmosphere, bringing people together socially, making sure that there's access for people who might use it ceremonially and things to that nature. And so that's where we're trying to bridge the gap, so to speak, in our revitalization efforts. I got tons I could ramble on about. I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time, but if it's at all helpful, I can stick around and field a few questions if you guys think you have any.
Anybody got any questions?
I don't want to take up too much time. Just one question. Do you have any other surrounding tribes that speak similar dialects?
We belong to the Algonquin language family.
Yeah.
And so there are several, but Menominee is uniquely positioned and quite uniquely positioned in the Algonquin language family. So we don't have any one-to-one speaking tribes, no.
Mm-hmm.
What's your, on your campus, is there like, how do you do the English Menominee thing? What do you guys, is there rules set in place, or?
So what we did is we've it's a good question, Cheney. So we've hired 10 folks. So let me start like this. Our core team, our regular full-time employees, are all second language speakers of the language. So in that sense, we can have like immersion style office environment. But then we've also hired 10 learners. We call them Menominee Lifeways Institute participants, and they come into us and they might have literally zero language, or they could have as much as a school might provide K-12 around here, which is kind of, red, blue, cat, dog, January, February type thing. And so what we've committed to is obviously we have to teach these learners. So we're building in that ability, but organizationally we talk about how do we responsibly set a goal for organizational fluency, and that's the idea that we don't just work on language all day, but we have to become accountable and start to work in the language. Mm-hmm. And so some of that is already happening where we're able to do sort of critical, detail orientated tasks via the language, but we do have a ways for everyone to get in, for that to be possible for every facet of our organization.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Lemlmtš, I appreciate you coming on. It's good to see you.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Yeah. Do you want to listen a little bit or hang out, or not? But we'll talk to you later.
I hope.
All right, Lemlmtš Pesyaʔ, Lemlmtš Pesyaʔ, Lemlmtš. We'll get started in Tachini.
Right, Lemlmtš Pesyaʔ. Cas olqstuahui cas Menominee Nation lo shait cas kutintuwitshi cas to meet me yet what cas to med what cas to skeli cas wetlo as Menominee lo kanuwawstin gest lo shait Lemlmtš Pesyaʔ. Yetchwajix me lemlmtš Causative. Let me start the show here. Somebody have any questions about anything that I've gone over the last 3 weeks? Last 3 classes?
I just got done memorizing the 400 suffixes, so
All
I'm
right.
good. Yeah.
Suffixes are easier than the root words.
Yeah, right.
There's actually only I think there's 45 suffixes in total, and all 45 of those are what make up and build all the other suffixes that we're familiar with. So today's the last class for this series, this 4-part series, and my goal in presenting the information is to make you aware of some of the features, some of the more common features in the language that you may not have been aware of, and just to kind of highlight those things. My core belief in language is that grammar is really good, and it's really good for people that enjoy it. But when you're teaching people that just want to learn the language to talk, teaching grammar in a explicit way can really turn off some people, because it can be really technical and high level, confusing. Often we use words that are people aren't familiar with, linguistic terminology and things like that. And so my belief is that if you can understand or you can learn about how the language works, especially if you're a teacher or you're designing curriculum or you're helping a teacher or whatever, or you're just interested in a more efficient way to learn, or you're just curious in general, the grammar can really bring out how the language thinks, how our ancestors thought and saw about the world, and how they presented that information. So when you can figure out that foundational information, how does this thing work and how does that thing work, at a really fundamental level, then you can take that information and create more engaging lessons for your students. Not explicitly teaching the grammar rules, but to incorporate those rules within the lesson itself, so that they're not explicitly learning it, but they're getting it, as a general course of learning, so that they can internalize that information. That is ideally the best. That's an ideal way to learn language, if you can internalize the grammar features and not necessarily know exactly what they are, because that's kind of a natural way. We all internalize, we all have an internal grammar that we are very aware of. When we speak, we know exactly when something is said wrong, and that's our internal grammar. We may not know the details of it and how it works. We're all English speakers, we're all fluent in English. We can convey our ideas, express what our wants and wishes, but most of us can't explain why English works the way it does and detail that. But so it takes a lot of effort to figure out these things, and then to use that information so that we can create more effective, more efficient learning paths for our future learners. So that was my intention with this 4-part series, is to give you an overview at some key things. So moving along here, we've been talking about intransitive and transitive sentences, and how those are formed from the words through the causative, the transitivizers. So the direct transitive was the NT transitive, and so today I'm going to show you a little bit about the causative. So the causative transitive is made up of the the s suffix. And the s suffix, like I have already shared, is that the s imparts intentionality to an act. So it is an intention if it's done by a person, and if it's done by an object, it is a design feature or its own characteristic. It's natural design and what it's supposed to do. So when you put an S onto a word, whether that's a root word or a stem word, you're adding intentionality to it, so that it's a deliberate act, is what you're saying. You're deliberately doing an act to something else. It's either by intention, by your own thoughts and your own will, or by design of the object itself that's doing the act. So the act is acting at an indefinite, but it is acting at like a single object or a single entity, whereas the M suffix, the anti-passive suffix, was directed at a set of things that can fall within the category of whatever is governed by that verb. Where the transitive ones are different from that, is they are specific, they are acting at a specific thing. That specific thing is not mentioned, it's not stated, and that's what makes it indefinite. And so to make the cause or the intentional, the S transitive, we have to stativize the word. And in order to stativize a word, you can do it a few ways, but the primary way is to add the stative suffix, which is the T, and that's how we get the ST suffix, the causative transitive, which is acting intentionally or by design at some object. And so in the diagram there, that is the typical order of transitive sentences. So there, the first part is always going to be the verb, which is the transitive verb. And then that verb is acting at an object. And that the actor, the one that's doing, is the subject, and that comes in the subject clause. And that is marked with the T, the determiner particle. And so, like I've said before, those clause particle positions, the ļutsi and ye, and then there's also the blank. Those are all, the specific things depending on how you're portraying the object and the subject. ļu is generally information that's understood or stated already. The tsi is to make to compare something to something else. And then ye is the specific here now, kind of directing attention to. And then if you leave it blank, it is generic or general. Any questions?
No. Tachini, so the ļu, we're only using ļu as common information that is known by the group already.
Yes, yeah. ļu is general, but it's referring to something that's already been established information, whether that's common knowledge or something that's in the narrative. It's already been established. ļu is what kind of directs at that established information, established knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even if you're talking about somebody, you can still use that ļu?
Yeah, you can use ļu in general for anything, but what it's doing is it's specifying established information already. It's directing attention to established information, and established information can be something that has already been stated, like if you're telling a story, or it's common knowledge information.
Lemlmtš.
Yeah. And then to be even more generic, you don't use any of the clause particles. So it's nothing. So that's the most generic. Any other questions? So the causative, transitive suffixes, and these, I'm just using the vowel forms for the, what's it called, the weak root example. So the ST is what the causative transitive is. And then the other part of that suffix, which is underlined, is the subject. So in the first one, this stes, and the S is the subject, the third person. N is the first person, ech is second, es is the plural third, and then ke is the plural first, and ep is the plural second. Just so that you can see those. This chart here kind of breaks out that whole, I call it the transitive suffix compound, or yeah, compound. And just showing you what all the parts of that, that suffix compound is. The ST there is the S is the transitive, the S is the stative, which makes it a transitive. And then those two different subject paradigms, which is the one with the vowel and then the one without the vowel. Just for reference. So just moving on to an example here. Steph, she, he, or it stopped something, made it stop. So in this case, stes is, there is intentionality in the act of stopping somebody. Like, I didn't just stop somebody for the purpose of stopping. I stopped them with intention. There was some intention when I stopped that person. By choosing to use stes, you are saying that there was some intention in the stopping.
Tachini, isn't the steh, isn't that you stopped? What that
Yeah.
suffix part, TEXW?
Yes, that is.
You stopped.
Right. So this is the way I have it organized in my dictionary. I just pulled this out of the dictionary. So stes is the third person, and then I put the first and the second person following. So sten, I stopped her or him or it with purpose. Stech, you did it. You stopped him, her, or it. Stes, they stopped something or someone. Stem, we and step, you all stopped someone with intention. All right, so getting at the root words, and Cheney, your question about, you know, how do we know when something is strong or weak in the root words? I haven't really determined that yet, but I'm getting close to figuring it out. But one thing that I have figured out is that when the when the vowel is in the suffix, it is it's subject focused. So the focus is on the subject rather than on the action. And that's what the vowel does, is it provides you with the information of what is the focus of the word. And in this case, it is the subject of the verb. So should stes, she turned somebody around or made them go around something. It is so it's the person doing the act is what is the focus of the act itself, and that's what transitive verbs are, subject focused, and intransitive are action focused. But the vowel, when the vowel is in the suffix, the subject has the most focus in the action of the verb. Calmstes, she calms somebody down. So again, the focus is on the person doing the act. Calmstes. Lemlmtš, she made someone confused. And again, the S is showing intentionality. So all of these words are very intentional things that are being done. I remember when I was first learning it, and I was wondering why is it said with an S and why is it said with an N? What's the difference? And I'd ask an elder, and they said that's just the way it is. I was like, darn it, that doesn't help me. Homestes, she distributed something out. So in all these cases, I'm using the third person, and in all the cases, they are intentional. And if I want to change it to me, I just say should Chumsten, I turn somebody around. Chumsten, I calm somebody down. Lemlmtš, I made someone confused. Homsten, I distributed something per capita. So when the vowel is in the word and not in the suffix, the transitive suffix, the act is the focus of the transitive act. Musts, she made it into four by situating four things together or by dividing something into four. Musts, she did it intentionally. Nkwusm, she caused someone to forget. And again, this is an intentional thing. Tuchts, that's a hard one. Tuchts, she made it fly. It's an intentional thing. Kunst, she made something big. Any questions? I know you really can't see the act focus in the translations, and I don't know if there's a good way to do that or express that, but just know that wherever the vowel is at, if it's in the word, it's the focus is on the word. If it's in the suffix, the focus is on that specific suffix. In the case of the subject focused ones, the vowel is always on the subject.
Tachini, did
Yeah.
somebody mentioned when there's a S
Mhm.
on the end of the word, sometimes it implies possession or possessiveness or from the subject. Is
Oh yeah.
that
Yeah, that's the possessive suffix, the S. Yeah, it's a different S.
okay?
Yeah.
Hushe.
So the other S on the other end, the prefix S makes something into what I call as nominal, which is noun-like, and it can be translated as that be or the being, something like that. The S, that's what the S does. And so we had to take a word like ʷusm. ʷusm means to somebody walked, she walked, or he walked. It also can mean left too. It can extend to that because when you walk, you're going. So ʷusm could also mean to leave. So you add the s to the prefix s, and you get the walk. ʷusm. ʷusm. That's the walk. You can keep the continuative on the verb itself. The ʷusti, as ʷusti, she's walking. You can make that into a nominal or noun-like word by just adding the s on there. ʷusti, the walking. And you want to own that walk. My walk is ʷusm, my walk. The walk that I went on is ʷusm. So you can say things like asip to as ʷusm. Your walk was long. Your walk takes a long time. It can be either way. Your walk was long, or your walk takes a long time. Depends on context, which way you're presenting that. So this sentence here at the end takes on it's a monovalent verb, asip, a long time ago, or I mean a long time, asip, and the subject of that verb is as ʷusm. Asip to as ʷusm. Your walk takes a long time, or your walk was long. Any questions? So the most common, I think the most common prefix in the language is the s. So so take the word eaten. She ate something because it has the n on there, so it's a direct act to something, to a specific thing. So she ate something. So to change that into a noun-like word, you can say you would say sa'ishin, which is pretty common. We all know that, I think. Sa'ishin is food, but it literally means the eaten. That which is eaten. And you can change the doing of something also into a noun-like word. Sa'ishni, the eating. You can possess that. Isa'ishneni, my eating. And then this is kind of where it plays into this. Tchen et kasip to asa'ishni. How long was your eating, or how long do you eat? It's kind of what that is asking. Any questions? So this also takes the same monovalent verb to subject construction. Kasip is the verb. It's a monovalent verb, so it can only have a subject. And the subject is, yeah.
Ethan. Oh, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
I just never seen that word before. Is that a common word? This etchelskasip?
Yeah, how long? Yeah, tchen etchelskasip. How long? How long? You're asking the length of something, the time length.
Okay.
Yeah.
In what way, other examples maybe, can you use this? Because sometimes the tichen etche or tichen amache, like those things can mean different things. Could you provide maybe another example, or there's certain time, like concepts of time for that?
Asip is a long time. So you're asking about the length of time. Asip. Maybe I'm not getting your question.
Sorry, with the Tachini.
Oh, Tachini Pete. You can add any word in there that's Tachini Pete. What color is it? So Tachini Pete is Tachini is where, but it's also in what state is it in, is really what it's saying. What state is it in? It's asking about the state of something, the quality or the condition. And so when something is in a location, wherever that may be, and that's why we use the word chen to ask about the location of something, because when something is in a location, it's in a state, wherever that location may be, it's still in a state of being in a specific location. So chen is a question of state or condition, how, and that's why chen is, or chen or chen. Chen is just like how is it? Chen is more about where or at or with what. So Tchen Etzchad, what was the word I had previous this one? Tchen Etzchad Schwist, how long was it? Oh, right there. Tchen Etzchad Skasip, so Schwist, how long was your walk? Does that make sense?
Una, I'm thinking, because sometimes when I'm hearing Salish in a fluent setting, I get confused of when to use Tachinim'tx or Tachinitxil, or and then Ilchenamache or Ilchen. You know, there's like the Ilchen and the Tuchen and then the Ache and then the Etche.
Yeah.
And I know they kind of mean similar things in regards to like how, or yeah, I'm just trying to, I guess, pinpoint that a little bit more. And maybe I just was
Yeah.
trying to understand more examples.
I get you there. I was there one time too. Tchen Etzchad Schemt. Tchen Etzchad Schemt. How heavy is it? So Tchen is the most like kind of neutral way to ask that question, if that helps. You really can't go wrong if you're asking Tchen. Chen is a little more specific in its asking about how something is done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Tchen is the most neutral one that you can use. You won't get in trouble with that. But yeah, that's a whole nother lesson on etre. So before I go to the next slide, so the S prefix is a pretty common prefix, and we often associate it with creating a noun, like Sa'ishin from Ishin, and the reason why it's the most common is because it's also, just like the suffixes are compounds are built up, the prefixes are similar to the suffixes. They're also built up from smaller parts. So the S, swist, is the walk, and so that we have a particle within the suffix es, and the part is really a pharyngeal, and it directs time in a way. So it's called a temporal directing particle, and it's directing the time like forward. So eshuist is it walks, she or he or it walks. So what it's doing is taking the walk and putting a temporal direction on it, meaning she or he walks. So it's continuing forward. It's imperfect. It's not been perfected yet. So it's still happening. It's imperfected. It's imperfect, and temporally it's directed forward in time. So es huist, she walks, meaning at the current moment in time, at the moment of the speech, you know, this person walks. Is that making sense to you all? I know it's a new thing for probably everyone here.
Yeah.
So es huisti, he or it is walking. So it's taking that same the s, which means the temporal directing nominal s, or the imperfect, and the continuative of that is the suffix part of it, and that's the y, which we have always written as an I, but it means to be transforming, being continuously transforming yourself, because when you're walking, your body's all in motion and constantly transforming, you know, the position that your body is in, and you're walking. That's huisti. Whereas es huist is just the fact that this person does walk. They have the capacity to do it, they learn to do it, or whatever, however you wanted to translate that. So es huisti is walking. Any questions? So I'm getting to a point on this. So does anybody have any questions? No questions. Okay. So the word quid means red. It's a resultive word. So quid, the I makes it a result. So it's something that comes to be red. Not sure why it's that. Maybe it's because things that are red only grow or something, or come about in that way. I'm not sure. So we add an S and it becomes the red thing, the redness, something like that. I can add the S, the IS suffix to quid. So the suffix can only be in the root word, or I mean the vowel can only be in the root word or in the suffix. And in this case, quids, the suffix has the vowel, so the suffix part is the focus of the word. So the S means intention or by design. You add an I to it, and you're putting a result to that intentionality. So it's a design that results in red, is what this word says. Kodlis. By design, it results in red. So what I'm trying to show here, illustrate, is that the way these suffixes work, and the way the vowels work with them. So again, it's a result. The I means it's a result. Some process leads to result, and in this case, it's the intentionality or the design leads to the result, and the result is it's a red. So from there, and then we're gonna add an S to this word here. Oh, okay, that's a suffix. The IS suffix is designed to do, to result. So we get the word squadlis, kinnikinnick berries. So it's just taking all those parts, and that's what the berry does, right? As it's red, and it comes to be in a red form. And so that's the kinnikinnick berry, squadlis. Any questions? Okay, moving on. So S is the imperfect, meaning it's showing that something has not been completed yet. It's still an ongoing thing. So in the transitive form, the causative transitive form, S, you add S to it, S, stes, she releases it or she frees something as a general course of what she or he does. That's what she does. She frees whatever it is that she frees. She always does it. She customarily does that. She frees it. So the S is saying that it's imperfect or has not been completed yet. And so it's a continuous thing that continues on until it's stopped. Stes. She frees whatever it is it's referring to. Stes. He customarily swallows. So this is showing that something that happens. It's a customary thing. It's an always thing, an ongoing thing. Esmistes. She or he knows it. It's an ongoing thing. And again, these are all intentional things that are done. So that's what the causative does. Stes. She or he knows how to do it. And then I'm going to throw in the M suffix in here just to show you how it changes the word. Oh, there's a mistake there. That should be a raised pharyngeal W, same as this. Lemlmtš Pesyaʔ. She keeps it steady. So the first one is Pesyaʔ. She knows how to do it. And Lemlmtš. She keeps it steady. Any questions?
I have a question about one of the phrases for
Okay.
Lemlmtš, like to keep it steady. And this is where my English brain is probably getting in the way. But you know how you say like, oh, like she keeps him steady, or like almost like hold you down, or she holds him down or something. Could you use that in a metaphorical way?
That's the same word. Yep. Lemlmtš. It's like you're holding it from moving, or yeah. Lemlmtš. I keep him steady.
Okay. Cool.
From running away or from falling or whatever. I'm going crazy. Yeah. So nobody asked me why is it that way? I had an answer already too. So the word yaw means directed power or intensity. So yaw nunam is your learning. It's because you're directing your intensity at some specific thing, and that's why you're learning. And that's why yot, you're strong, because it's directed power or intensity. Yaw. Stes, I know it because of the intensity I put into it. Any questions? Go through a couple more examples here. Es hoists, she makes someone along or bring something. Again, these are customary things or something that always happens. Imperfected. Es Lemlmtš. She hears something. She always hears it. Nkwusm. She makes her or him feel happy.
Yeah, we have one thing that we do in Spokane grammar when we're using the causative like this, and we get the TS's at the end.
For the C, right?
Yeah, they're combined into a C rather than written as a TS.
Oh yeah.
Very much a Spokane thing. So if you guys ever see any Spokane writing and it starts out very similar, but it's got a like an SC at the end, then it's the
We
same.
do the
It's the
same
same
with the
thing.
we do it with the suit.
Yeah.
Same thing. You guys do that with the possessive, right, too?
Yeah. Yeah, with the possessives too, yeah.
Yeah, the C. Es tuchts. Huihuayut pus. Anybody know what that says? This is a test now. It's where you get your grade.
The bird flies from the cat? No?
Close, yeah. Es tuchts. Es tuchts.
The cat causes the birds to fly.
Yeah, there's a little bit more to it, but yeah, that's. One more guess. Remember the causative, intentionality, by design. Take one more stab at it, Robert.
So it's the cat wants or intends to make the birds fly.
Yeah, it's kind of always or customarily.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bird always makes, I mean, the cat always makes the birds fly. by its intention or by its design or whatever. That's a hard one to say. But yeah, so the plurality of this is within the verb itself, so it's more than one. So the birds is pluralized in the verb rather than in the word itself. Cat always makes birds fly.
And so like in ours in that context too, like if there isn't anything else stated, it can also kind of say like
Intensify.
each of
Oh yeah.
the birds. So with the context, sometimes you need to know that too, because it could be not just like all the birds together, it could be the individual
Each one.
birds.
Yeah, or groups, individual groups too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very true. So another sentence here is Edlinko Quaquench so as which so in ko queen Quaquench so as which in this one place you see a few. So the customary thing or the always thing is as which you always see it. And what you always see is a fronted clause here. To edlinko quaquench. Oh wait, I lied.
Jeannie, what's the quequench?
A little amount.
So it's not reduplicated.
It is reduplicated of quench.
Why wouldn't it be quench?
So there's two different diminutive reduplications, and again, it depends on the root word. It's the same kind of thing as the weak and strong. It's exactly the same thing.
Yes.
So in every case, there's always two forms, one for like a vowel form and one for the vowel in the reduplicated part.
Lemlmtš.
Oh, no. So Lemlmtš is a small amount, barely any. Lemlmtš Pesyaʔ. How many do you feed? Lemlmtš Pesyaʔ. Any questions? Here's another example. Takas Shemist on Nkwusm. Takas Shemist on Nkwusm. Don't be ashamed of your language. So in this form here, if you just take off the ta, kes. So this is the aerialis, which I'm going to get into next, which puts something out of your experience, what you have experienced. Takas Shemist on Nkwusm. So the aerialis is contained within the Q prefix, and this signifies the inexperienced or the unknown. And when added with the s, just like the e and s, es, the e adds the temporal directionality. In this one here, you still have the s, which is the noun or the nominal, and you're going to add the q to that, to the s, to make it the aerialis. So the aerialis part is contained within the q. And you may be asking, what does aerialis mean? So aerialis is, so this figure here is like a person in a bubble and is walking forward, and everything that's in your bubble, all your experiences, all your knowledge, everything you've learned in your life that you still carry with you in your mind that you haven't forgotten. All those experiences combined are make up your life bubble in a sense. It's the totality of who you are is contained within your experiences, your memory, the things that you have done. Everything that is outside of that, outside of your experience or your knowledge, the things that you've done, the things that you know, the things that you've learned, everything that's outside of that is expressed with the prefix, which is the aerialis. And we know that most familiar with the ks prefix, which is the k in front of the s, the noun, the nominal. So it's everything that's outside of your experience or your knowledge is when you use the aerialis form. So we tend to think of it as the future form only because that's where it's most used, because the future is outside of your experience, outside of your knowledge, outside of what you've done. For everybody, the future is that way, is outside of the experienced. So I take a sentence like this. Copy. I might go pour some coffee. Does anybody else have a different interpretation of what that would be? Copy.
I would have said I'm gonna go pour some coffee. I mean, it was pretty much the same. How did you get the might reference?
I'm going to get to that, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is the piss. The k.
Yeah, the ks. So
Okay.
This can also mean I shall go pour coffee. And then what you said, Troy, I'm going to go pour some coffee.
Yeah.
It also could mean I have yet to go pour coffee. So all four of these are true translations of this sentence here. Chixquisensihwit kapi. I might, I shall, I'm going to, I have yet to do it.
I intend to.
Yeah, another good one. Yeah, I intend to. Good one. I'll add that one to the next time I do this.
But it's not guaranteed, or
Yeah, so all four of these, they're expressing the act that has yet to occurred. So they're expressing the inexperienced act of go to get coffee, or go pour coffee is what the quis and sihui is the word. So quis is a prefix as well. So this is all one word actually. Chix, quis and sihui. But quis and sihui is go to pour coffee. That's the verb. So you haven't experienced this act of going to pour coffee yet. You still haven't done it yet. You're only expressing your intention, your intentionality. So
Yeah, when we say that, we think of it as like it's a thought that has started but has yet to be realized.
right, the irrealis, it's irrealized. So I might, that could be translated because you haven't done it yet, and I don't know if you're going to do it for sure or not. It's just you're just expressing an intention. So they haven't been done yet. So let me go back to that. Go back to that other image here. So this person here is going to go pour some coffee. So outside of his or her bubble's experience and knowledge, the act of pouring coffee hasn't yet occurred. It's outside of your experience bubble, your life bubble. Does that make sense, Troy?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. So the act of pouring the coffee is outside of the bubble. It's in the irrealis. It's the outside of the experienced act.
So you're saying that it could be possible that you're going to do this, but there is like a slight possibility that it might not happen. Like it's not committed, but maybe because like I hear in the language, it's like, oh, who's going to do this? And someone might say nem. So when you're using nem, then that's like a promise that's guaranteed. So nem chin and seichum takapi. That would be like it's for sure happening.
Yeah.
Whereas this is not.
Yeah. So all you're stating is chix quis and sehui takapi is you're positioning the act outside of the experience, outside of your bubble.
I got a question, Tachini. So when since this is out, there's these different ways that we can view the sentence. Would it be more like is it context that would imply to or intimate to people listening, or is it more like your tonality, like how you are saying something like, yeah, I might go pour some coffee, like is it your tonality of the voice, or would it be more like context that would intimate to listeners or people listening to you in conversation?
Yeah. Yeah. So each one of those interpretations I have listed, those four, each one is going to be interpreted based on context. So so outside of context, all four of those are correct. But you add more context, then it's gonna be one or the other of those translations, depending on the context exactly. But the particle, the suffix, is what is is putting the act outside of your experience bubble, so to say. So it's something that you have yet to do, but you're expressing your intentionality to do it. You're expressing that it is something that you have not experienced or done yet. It's kind of hard to show that, but I'm trying to help you see it here. So another sentence here is Chnesented Seichix Sustit Sewach. So in this one here, I'm thirsty, or I'm wanting to drink water. I want to drink water. That's what I want. So the thing that you're wanting is outside of your current experience situation. And the thing that's outside of it is that you want to go drink that water. So I want to be drinking water is really what the sentence says. Or I am wanting that I shall be drinking water. I'm wanting that I be drinking water.
Could you say it without cheeks? Would that make sense?
Yeah, you could say that.
What would that mean?
You're just stating the fact of drinking the water rather than placing it outside of your experience. So when you say cheeks, you're placing it outside of the realm of what has happened, where simply Chnesusti is just stating the fact that I want to be drinking water. It's not saying that it's something that is not outside of the current situation. You're just stating the general fact. So some more examples here of that same kind of form of where you're placing something outside of the experience bubble. Stemtlo an Lemlmtš Pesyaʔ. What do you like to eat? So in this sense here, the questioner is asking, what do you like? So the questioner is stating that they don't know what you like to eat because they're placing your oxychnum, what you do eat, is outside of their experience bubble, their knowledge. So it requires the form oxychnum. And that's the reason why you're asking the question in the first place, because you're trying to learn. So the next one is Quetent ox aum. Try and say it. So again, this is a command to tell someone to try to say it. The ox aum part is stating that it's outside of your experience bubble, your knowledge bubble. Has your stes xhuisti. Does she know how to walk? Has your stes xhuisti. So again, the xhuisti part is stating that whoever's asking the question is stating that I don't know, it's outside of my experience information. So I'm going to state it in the irrealis form. Xhuisti. Has your stes xhuisti. Next one is Quiesentetsam Shanim. Quiesentetsam Shanim. I want you to wear your shoes. Put your shoes on. Again, the putting your shoes on is outside of the current situation and outside of the experience bubble. So Shanim is you're going to put your shoes on. That's what I'm wanting. ʷusm ʷusm. Lemlmtš. How do you make a drum? Lemlmtš. All right. Any questions? So what I'm trying to show here is that you have an experience bubble that when you're expressing things that are outside of that, which is your knowledge and your experience, you use the irrealis form to express that. It is outside of that.
Hey, Tachini, this is Joshua.
Yeah.
I have a question. So say the first sentence, I was wondering your thoughts about if you could drop the QS, say it's an old couple that's lived together for 1,000 years and they know what each other likes to eat, and it's within their purview of knowing what the other one likes. Could you drop the QS?
I don't. In this case here, it's asking. So if you're asking a question, it's pretty much going to be out of your bubble.
Well, if you already know what they like, then you don't need the on command.
Mm-hmm.
And it would just go to lemlmtš Pesyaʔ. Like what do you intend to eat? What do you want to eat?
Or lemlmtš
Or
Pesyaʔ.
maybe like
Yes.
lemlmtš
Pesyaʔ, what do you eat?
So there's some crosstalk there. What did other folks say? I didn't quite hear it.
Oh, the ox is future tense, right?
Yeah, in a sense, yeah. That's what I'm trying to take out of your mind, is that it is not the future tense. It's the irrealis. It's outside of your experience bubble. So all of these examples here are not about future tense, but they're about outside of your experience, your knowledge, your information. The has yostes ʷusm, I think, is a really good example, because you're asking a question that's outside of your knowledge area. Has yostes, does she know how to do it? Does she know how to walk? Has yostes. So it kind of requires the ks to be in there, because you're stating something that's outside of your knowledge area, your experience. I don't know how else to state it.
Where's your references? Eh?
That's a big list.
Yeah, it's 1,600 pages.
Awesome.
So there is that. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Any questions on the irrealis? Took me. I read this. So when I was asking the question, I was like, "What's the difference between ks and kes?" And I was asking the linguist Steve Egestal, and he gave me this big old long email full of all this stuff, and then I couldn't sort it out, so I asked him again, like to break it down. And I think he got frustrated with me because I kept asking him. So he said, "Here's a book. Take this book and read it." And the book was called Time and the Verb. Time and the Verb, yeah, Time and the Verb. And it's a really heavy linguistic book, but it's all about how time is expressed through our words, and all the different perspectives that languages can express, I guess. And it was through that, reading that book, and when I finally got to the end of it, it took me like a year and a half to read this whole book, because it was so heavy with linguistic terminology. I had to learn about this terms before I could understand what the concept was even talking about. But when I got to the end, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. I understand what the is doing. And everything that you guys are saying, you know, I had the same kind of thoughts too about it's the future. But it's all about your experience bubble. Just keep that in mind. Is like this bubble that's around you is your experience, and it's all your life happenings that are inside there. And when you're expressing something that's inside there, you don't need to use the form. When it's outside, which includes the future, then you use the form.
So
So it's not.
So it does include the future, but it's bigger than that.
It's bigger than the future, yes. And it is the future, but it's a bigger concept than just the future.
Yeah, because you can use the cus in the past, so it's not it takes a while to get used to or get away from thinking that it's just future tense. Because you can, if there was an intent in the past for somebody to want to do something, you're still going to use that cus.
Right.
Aspect.
All right, let's move on to the unless there's some more questions on Irialis. We'll move on to the condition. So the condition clause begins with ne. Ne sets up a condition, and it's most commonly translated as when. So when sets up a condition. I mean, ne sets up a condition, and the condition can be in any one of our sentence forms. And I just made these diagrams here just to keep these forms in front of you, so that you keep that information in front of you. But so in a ne condition clause can be in a monovalent intransitive, or a bivalent intransitive, or transitive. It can take any of the forms. And so the way it's structured is ne sets up the condition, and then the verb of the main clause is what is the condition. And you can add subjects, objects to that verb to include in the condition. And the condition clause cannot stand on its own. So you can't just say ne and then whatever. It has to be from something or about something. So there's other information. So it'd be incomplete if you just said ne and in a sentence without anything else added to it. Nechin ich, when I sleep. That's incomplete. That doesn't give me any more information. When you sleep what? So I just want to, so the valency thing here, I know it's a confusing thing, something new probably. Monovalent valency is about how many arguments, and an argument is the subject and the object. How many of those are there? So in a monovalent, there's only one that's a subject. In a bivalent, there's two. There's an object and a subject. Object and a subject. So a monovalent is going to be agent-oriented, and the agent is the experiencer. The agent is the subject of the verb. In an ambivalent verb, it's an agent to patient-oriented structure. The agent is the doer, and the patient is the implied receiver of that act. In a bivalent verb, there's also agent to patient oriented. The agent is the doer, and the patient is the direct receiver. So a monovalent and an ambivalent, they are intransitive. Or I guess all of them could be intransitive. And a transitive can only be bivalent. Any questions on this? Okay. Here's an example of a condition. Chines ne, chines chkame. I eat when I'm hungry. So ne chines chkame is the condition when I'm hungry, and when I'm hungry, chines I eat. Es otke in pus ne ak cho. My cat goes out when it is hot outside. So ne I ak cho is the condition when it is hot outside. And the thing that happens is es otke in pus. My cat goes out. Haques huist ne coaimt. Do you walk when you are mad, or do you leave when you're mad? Ne coaimt is the condition. So along with the condition is the future particle it is a joiner particle, so it's joining two clauses or two main predicate clauses together, two thoughts. So the condition is going to come before this, and this is the result of the condition, the will. So the is the only true future particle in Salish at all. Out of all everything, the is the only future, actual future. So these are all the intransitive and transitive constructions that going to follow. It's a standard sentence structures that I've been showing you, the monovalent, bivalent constructions of the intransitive and the transitive. With those clause particles and the positions. So the conditional ne and the this is nem. So the ne part is the condition. The is the result of that condition. What happens? What will happen when this condition happens? When this condition is met. Ne chadluch. So ne chadluch is the condition when it is evening. I will see you again. Ne chadluch melwich. So the condition is chadluch, ne chadluch, when it's evening, and the result of that melwich. When the condition is met, I will see you again. Nkwusm Pesyaʔ. Nkwusm Pesyaʔ. In the morning we will go dig. So the condition here is nkwusm. That's the condition, and when that condition is met, we will go dig roots. Yeah.
So is future?
Is future, yes.
Okay.
And is a particle that joins two clauses together. And it also can be at the front of a sentence too. on its own. Nkwusm Lemlmtš. This one's for you, Josh. Nkwusm Lemlmtš. When you drink beer, that's the condition. When you drink beer, Lemlmtš, you get dizzy. So moving on. So this is a monovalent condition. Oh, I forgot to say that about the last one. These were all intransitive conditions. Nkwusm, Nkwusm. So these are monovalent conditions. Netak, Otzkest, Klupus. When it's hot, she will bring the cat inside. Nestitshi, Lointlochte, Ichten. When my baby is sleepy, I will make him sleep. Oops. So the condition is ne estitshi Lointlochte.
Would that be inside with Ortskast? Would that be outside?
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Good catch. Yeah, there should be a C on there. Totskast.
Just wanted to make sure we were paying attention.
Yeah, exactly. You win the prize.
Oh, take kusum kulyachwa.
So these are the this is the transitive conditions. So net kontes yes shench mkumintui. Net kontes yes shench mkumintui. So when he puts the rock down, you will run. This rock. That's the condition. When he puts this rock down, you will run, is the result. Now we see Nkwusm. When I finish eating it, I will go sleep. Nkwusm ululim mchinhuich town. Nkwusm ululim mchinhuich town. Nkwusm ululim is the condition. When you give me money, the result is I will go to town. So condition, result. Ne is the condition, is the result. So when we get no condition or the null condition, which I'm representing here with the circle over just the ne, that means there isn't a condition stated that this result happens. So that's why nem is so definitive in saying that this is going to happen, because what it's actually saying is there is no stated condition that will be the result that this happens. Nem. Does everybody see that? Oops, what happened? So in this example here, so the condition is something net quintes yes shench. That's the condition. So if you take that out, Nem kumentui, you will run. There is no condition stated that will result in you running. I can take out the Nem chinquis each. I will go to sleep. There, no stated condition that's going to result in me going to sleep. Neko huitz ululim. So the condition is when you give me money, but you take that out. Nemchin huich town. There's no stated condition that's going to result in me going to town. That's the null condition, nem. So there's a stated condition to meet. So it's going to happen. Makes it be to happen, will happen. Ne is just stating the condition. And in
Tachini, I'm sorry.
oh yeah, go ahead.
So when is it more appropriate to say, Chikshui Lucha town as opposed to Nem?
When you want to express definitiveness, you're going to say nem.
Okay,
So
okay.
Yeah. And
Okay,
chikshui
gotcha.
is just like stating the intention
Okay.
or stating the fact that, this is what my intentions are outside of my experience. So the the null condition nem, which is ne, unstated condition, it's going to happen, will happen. Nem chin eaten, I will eat. Nem chin quaitlemist, chin chi. I'm going to do my best to get there. So that one there has two future statements. Nem, so there's no stated condition that I'm going to do my best. Chin chi, I will get there. Nem yo nun. Oh, should be two there. Oops. Nem yo. Nem yo nun. I will learn it. Nem huedlen. You will throw it away. You will abandon it. Nemot kshiten muya. I will help till it is finished. Again, that one there has two will statements in there. Nem, ne. There's no stated condition. Mot kshiten. I will help it. Yeah, it will be finished. It will finish. So this one here uses the irialis with the ne, nem, will. Nem chiks chkotli yetwa. So this is stating that that this is going to happen, but then it brings it back to an uncertainty. So it's like you're expressing certainty, but you're dialing that certainty to express the irialis, chikutli. So it puts a little bit of uncertainty in nem. And that's all I have for today. Shehoy.
Lemlmtš Tachini Pesyaʔ.
So much more I wanted to share, but there's never enough time.
Plus our brain capacity.
Oh, I know. I take that into consideration too. Don't want to blow your mind too much.
Right. No doubt.
So I have a question in regards to helping teach language to people within our community, whether it's to adults or to kids. Right now, just where with majority of people are at. Like we're working with present tense when it comes to verbs and when we're expressing ourselves. It's more from like the first person, second person. But with students who are catching on and learn more, I guess the question is, and maybe Cheney can chime in on this too, should we be teaching the nem and the more than we are the Mhm.
My opinion is that you should design those concepts within lessons, not as intentional. Like we're going to learn about NEM today, but to incorporate it in a way that allows them to build it naturally. So you're constantly referring or using the example of NEM in certain situations, and then you switch it so that they're getting a feel for how it works or in what ways it works. But yeah, for the future, I think it's a real challenge for an English mind to conceptualize the irrealis. Um, so it's but it's also like you don't want to set it up to them that you're saying that this is just the future tense because it's not, it's more than that. So it's a matter of just portraying many examples in order for them to build that internal awareness of how it works.
Okay. I'm thinking too, in regard, because we usually start with like the present tense and then being able to talk in the past tense, and then we could call it, the future, but also outside of our own timeline or outside of ourselves tense. That usually comes later. So my brain is going in a lot of different ways of how to incorporate that in a way that won't be too overwhelming. But it is nice because then with like nem, you really are just using stuff from like a past tense, like
Yeah,
whether it's intransitive or transitive.
yeah, exactly.
All right.
I always find that using like little short stories, like even if you can like draw it on a board, uh, help really well to allow students and learners to kind of catch on to those concepts of not so much like past, present, future, but like how often that takes place. So you can show like chin hui, like I went in this one instance, I went, and you can kind of draw that out, and then underneath you could uh, have a similar one, but like chines, chines fuiste, right? And so you can show like there's more walking involved. It's not just this one little spot. It's a good visual, especially if you're working with people who are visual learners. Pictures work really well for that. Or you can use like puppets or whatever, or you can have your students kind of do that. So chinquist, like you walked, or that there was one instance where you walked chinquist, and then you can show that it's happening over multiple times and not just that one small little instance. I don't know, that was just one concept that worked really well for me, and it seemed to my students seemed to catch that pretty quick without me having to explain it in English. That way you can stay in the language.
No, that much. I'm even thinking too yeah, I guess, yeah, sorry, my brain is just going on a long day, but I like the story idea, even if it is just something really basic or simple. Um, I'm thinking too in regards to how I need to change my language when I'm speaking. Because I think when learning, there was a focus on the future with the what do you call it? Arealis?
Aerials, yeah.
Arealis.
Yeah.
And so like hearing what you're sharing, I just need to be more active and aware of how I'm using it. Because I think it definitely changes some of the things I'm trying to convey.
I think if we just get away from thinking about past, present, and future, and more just thinking about example sentences and how things are used, and be able to wrap our minds around these concepts that are a little bit different than what we've traditionally been like doing. Because I know first time I seen examples of this, I was like, holy cow, I've been doing everything wrong and then teaching everybody wrong. In a sense, because I'm saying there's these tenses, past, present, and future, and just sticking to that guide and then wondering how come I can say, um, I'm going to do something in past tense, and then didn't do it though. And you just see and then you can see like in the future reference, I've seen some of your stuff, like you can present or future where I'm using chin hui, and I was like, what? This is confusing to me because it makes sense, but how come it doesn't fit the pattern? And so I think it just the self reprogramming is just bombard ourselves with sentence examples of how you can say things, and then start grasping the ideas of um, where this is taking place, and if, when I'm using ne, and when I'm using when I'm using chin, all those things, it makes those are making sense, and then I don't focus on the uh, template of present tense, past tense, and future tense, and that's what I'd always do. I would always just do that, This is all present tense. This is all future tense. This is all past tense. This is the words you can use in here, and this ones you can't. And it just made sense to me so much then, and I didn't get it, but it made sense to me that that's how it's supposed to be. And now I'm probably going to be easy to reprogram because that still didn't make sense to me. And so I'm going to come back around this and be able to catch on to some of the teachings that you're showing, because you're not the only one speaking about this and the aspects. It's kind of coming out. I've been talking to other linguists. I just met somebody over the weekend here and was speaking about that, and they were trying to explain it to me a little bit in different languages and different, where that sits, how that sits with languages, and it makes sense that with our language because we're not noun based, right? We're not so set around that. So there's different patterns that are used within that, and it gets more complicated. And it really is like I'm just trying to read your oodlu lean there, and I was like, wait, he's spelling that wrong. I know what he's doing, but he's spelling it wrong. And I'm like, oh no, he spelled it right. I'm like, okay, so it takes a lot to wrap our minds around these things. I love listening to it and hearing it. Whether or not I agree with everything or not, I don't even know that I could tell somebody, oh, I agree with that or I don't agree with that, because I'm just finding out how little I knew. I know even littler, you know, and how much the more you know, the more you know you don't know, right? And this is really exponentializing that even a little bit more. So I appreciate that and kind of see the patterns of what you're talking about or the patterns of what other people are talking about as well. So we're all in that ballpark, I think it's just it's really interesting, and it's really I really appreciate you coming on here and showing us what you got, that's and I like what I heard you say, no, I'm not telling people to do this or not to do this. I'm just saying here's some ideas that I'm working with. Is this going to help you? If it helps you, hey, this is that's what we're about. We're doing this together, and then if it doesn't help you, I'm sorry, I don't know how I can help you, but this is what I'm doing, right? And that's kind of where we're all at in this world. And this is a brand new thing in a lot of senses. Like we're not first language speakers, so we got to find a foundation for all of us at some place. And this is what we're still doing. It's in the process, been in the process. Our last of our first language speakers going out of this world were the babies of all those people who were first language speakers. Because these are the last of them right here in our world right here, right now. And so the dynamics are quite different than even what they were 40 years ago to where they're at now. And we just got to set ourselves in there, and just kind of just do our best. Lemlmtš.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things about the difference between English and Salish and why it's such a challenging thing to get is English doesn't